Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk about 6.1, prisms, cylinders, and spheres. A polyhedron is a three-dimensional figure whose surfaces are polygons. Remember, a polygon is a closed geometric shape with straight sides. Therefore, a circle is not a polygon. The face of each polygon, the face is each polygon of a polyhedron. So, in other words, every side you see is a face. The edge is a segment formed by the intersection of the two faces. And the vertex is a point where three or more edges intersect. A prism has the following characteristics and features. A polyhedron with a pair of identical faces, which are called bases, that lie in parallel planes. The bases of a prism are always congruent and named according to their shape. Lateral faces are the faces that are not bases. These are always rectangles for a prism. And the altitude and height is a segment that is perpendicular to both bases and tells me the distance between them. So as we can see below, we have three prisms. So we have a square prism, and a square prism has a square base. And it has another base that is parallel to it. Next, we have a rectangular prism. And for this one, pretty much any side could be called its base, but we're going to do the one that has the markings on it. And therefore, this is the parallel base. And next, we have our triangular prism. So this one is very clear which one is the base. It is the non-rectangular side. So it is the triangle. Remember, they don't always have to lie on their base. So the volume formula, which is what we are going to focus on, is capital B, H. So H is your height of your prism. And capital B is area of the base. So next, we are going to talk about cylinders. So if you need to take a second and pause the video right here to finish writing down, please do so. So a cylinder is a figure similar to a prism, but has a circular base, or circular bases. A sphere is a geometric solid whose cross sections are circles. So if we think about it, a cross section is, if you remember when you were little playing with Play-Doh or kinetic sand, if I take a knife and slice down my shape and open it up, what is that shape that I see? What two-dimensional shape do I see? That's a cross section. We're going to go over the specific definition in a second. So a cylinder, again, my base is a circle. Therefore, this is not a polyhedron because my bases are not polygons. And the formula for volume of a cylinder is exactly the same as up above. So my volume equals capital B H. Now, since I know that my base is a circle and is always a circle, I could go even further and say that my base is area of a square, so it's pi r squared h. But this, if you can remember just one formula, remember this one, because you should know your area formulas. And volume of a sphere, this one you do have to memorize. There's nothing similar about it. It's 4/3 pi r cubed. Where remember r is your radius, the distance from the center of the circle out, and h is your height or altitude. A cross section is the intersection of a solid and a plane. So now let's take a look at some examples. So when doing these volume problems, first let's look at the directions. It says find the volume. Keep your answer in terms of pi where applicable. That means if we are doing volume of a cylinder or volume of a sphere, I want you to leave it in terms of pi. I want you to treat pi like a variable. Be sure to include units in your answer. So when you do these, the first thing I want you to do is trace over or highlight your base. So my base is here. The other thing you could do is you could draw a picture of your base. So just draw, you don't have to draw the three-dimensional figure, but I could just sketch my rectangle and put my measurements on. This is an 11 by 14 rectangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out the area of my base. So my base is a rectangle. It's 11 by 14, so that's 14 times 11, which is 154. Next, I'm going to write my volume formula. So volume equals capital B H. Well, I just found capital B is 154. And then what connects my bottom base to my top base? So I've already used the 11 and 14, so the only number left is the 12. So if I multiply it out, I get 1,848 kilometers cubed. Okay, let's take a look at B. Now we have a triangular prism. So my base is a triangle. Again, I am going to go ahead and trace over it so I know where's my base. Okay, I'm going to jot down a picture of it so I know it's a right triangle. This is 6, this is 8, this is 10. So to find the area of my base, area of a triangle is 1/2 BH. So in this case, it's 1/2 times 6 times 8, which is 24. Next, we're going to go on to my volume formula. Again, I always write my formula first. So volume equals capital B H, and that is mandatory. So my base area is 24. The height, what connects my two prisms together, is my 7. So if I multiply that out, I get 168 cubic feet. Okay, next we're going to move on to the cylinder. So here is my base shape. So my base area is pi r squared. So that is 8 squared in this case. So 8 squared is 64, and I bring pi along. Next, we're going to move on to volume. So volume equals capital BH. My volume was, my base area was 64 pi. And my height that connects the two bases, so there was one base, here's the other base. My height that connects them is 9. So I'm going to take 9 times 64, and I get 576 pi inches cubed. And there's the answer. If they were asking for it in decimal form, at this point you would go ahead and multiply 576 by pi using the pi button. And finally, the last one of these, notice 12 is the diameter, so from the center to the side is only 6. So my volume formula is 4/3 pi r cubed. So we're going to plug in 4/3 pi times 6 cubed. Again, we're treating pi like it's a variable, so I'm going to do 6 cubed times 4/3. I get 288 pi kilometers cubed. Last thing we need to look at is cross sections. So it says describe each cross section of the three-dimensional figure. So this bluish green plane is cutting through each of my objects. So what shape do I see? So if I were looking at it, if I open it up and look at it, what shape do I see? Well, here I see a rectangle. B. So if I look at B, this cross section, what is the shape that we see? It is a square. Here, what shape do I see? I see a triangle. And finally here, I see a circle. As always, if you have any questions, send me an email and I will get back with you.